Yo, what's going on, good people? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. Representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm coming at you guys with my take on Salamangreats. I know it's been a long time coming. I got to do everything based on a first come, first serve mindset. It's kind of just a chronological order, you know. I go through my my workload that way. It's not really getting lighter, it's getting heavier. But I'm glad that we could finally knock this off the list. Put a lot of work into this because you guys had waited so long for my take on Salamangreats. I appreciate the compliments too. Like, I really do. Thank you guys so much for the nice things that you say. Like, a lot of it was like, oh, dude, you could break Salamangreats. I know you're going to do something crazy. I know it's going to be different. Like, that's just really, really sweet. I will say that, like, I tried my best to innovate this deck, but I didn't want to deviate, you know? I didn't want to deviate from how the strategy is, the initial trajectory that this deck is headed. It's kind of like, I guess the plays, you can say it's linear because it kind of just really... There's really only one realistic play. Like, there's multiple routes that you take, but it is the embodiment of consistency because it really is just repetitiously doing the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, the fine line is that it's very linear. But I really didn't want to change that. Like, the deck is already good as it is. So I didn't want to throw in a bunch of, you know, like, kind of like odd cards that would throw off the archetype. What I wanted to do was just kind of enhance the strengths that the deck already had. And I'll put in a couple cards that actually just would really catch people off guard. So let's go ahead and hop into the list, you guys. Let's go ahead and start with 3 copies of Lady Debug. I still think that this is a great card. I've heard conflicting opinions on it. Some people say it's trash. Some people say it's this. Some people say it's that. Me personally, I don't get my opinions based off what other people say. I have to see it in action for myself, meaning I have to play it myself. And once I play it, then I'll determine whether it's good. And I really think this card is incredible. I mean, Debug plus Gazelle or Spinny, either one, that's still your combo. It's essentially, it's like literally playing 3 more Gazelles or 3 more Spinnies. So everything in tandem, when you have your 3 circles and your 3 Debugs, your 3 Gazelles, your 3 Spinnies, you're kind of playing either 9 copies of Gazelle or 9 copies of Spinny, which in rotation just creates 12 cards that you can draw 2 of those 12s, and you have the full combo that you're really trying to go for. So I like Debug. I understand the issue with normal summons and all, but like, honestly, the way I see it is I need to open a normal summon in the first place, and it needs to be a valuable normal summon. So I like 3 Foxy as well. I think Foxy is also imperative, not just for the searching, but its ability to out floodgates, its ability to allow me to generate more pressure, because I think that Salamangreats get a lot more dangerous after turn 1. Really, the best strength about this deck, for me personally, is its follow-ups. It's not how it makes the board and the board that it makes that's so broken about the deck. It's its follow-ups. It's consistently just bringing everything back, just kind of recycling the same resources over and over and over again. And how many times you're just going to bring stuff back from the grave, how many monsters you just get for free. Like, if you have opened properly, you're just going to get Jaguar back from the grave. You're going to get Spinny back from the grave. You're going to get Foxy back from the grave. You're going to have a Gazelle that you got back off of Wolf. Like, there's just so much that you just get to do. You get, like, 4 free bodies every single follow-up. And that's the biggest strength for me personally about the deck. But anyways, so next up we have 3 copies of Gazelle and also 3 copies of Spinny. So Spinny and Gazelle, it's just... Opening with these 2 is really imperative. Like, I wanted to really put a strong emphasis on getting access to Mirage Stelio as quickly as possible, because I don't like using Gazelle to dump Spinny. I don't. I really like dumping my traps. I need the traps. Like, Mirage Stelio is important because it gives you the follow-up of Jaguar, which is not only going to allow you to make your Dweller and all that, but it's giving you a follow-up, which is really important. It truly is. So, huge emphasis on getting access to these 2 cards. Next up for the 1-ups, we have 1 copy of Jaguar, 1 copy of Falco. That's the 1-ups for the Salamangreats. I am playing 2 Buffaloes. I didn't want to play 3 because I just didn't want to play too many normal summons. I felt that 8 normal summons was a good number for me. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, 6 is too much already. Like, no, bro. Like, 8 normal summons is good enough for me. You're not literally, like, people have this illusion in their mind where they feel if they play more than 6 normal summons, they're going to open 6 normal summons or something crazy like that. I do not mind opening a Debug and a Foxy. I don't mind opening a Flame Buffalo and a Debug, or a Flame Buffalo and a Foxy. Like, that just means now I have options. Like, I don't have to just commit to this normal summon because it's the only play I have. Now I have options. I can decide based on how my hand's looking and the information I have of the matchup which normal summon matters more. So I really do like 2 Flamed Buffalo. It helps you to draw into your side deck cards, your hand traps. It's a really good card. One card that I need to be playing that I just can't find it because it's in my structure deck pile is the Peacock. I really like the Peacock. I believe that the Peacock is correct to play. It allows you to consistently make Abyss Dweller turn 1. The Peacock is supposed to be in here, but my Salamangreat structure deck cards, the extras, got mixed up with a gigantic tub, and I mean a gigantic tub of my bulk, and it takes an entire day to look through that thing. I'm not doing it right now. So Peacock's supposed to be here. Just remember that. I'm supposed to be playing it, so anybody that's going to say, why don't you play it, I just answered the question. If you're going to ask the question again, you probably just weren't listening. All right, so that's it for basically the important monsters of the deck. We're going to move forward to the hand traps next. So the hand traps, this deck can play a lot of hand traps, and I think that that's a strength that most decks don't have, is the fact that some decks can play hand traps, but this deck can play a lot because, not to say its engine is compact, but because it really doesn't need a lot of cards to go off. You can afford to have multiple hand traps in your hand because your combos revolve around 1 and 2 specific cards, which is a strength that most decks don't always have. You have 1-card combos, and your 2-card combos are the best ones. So you could have, technically speaking, 3 hand traps in the 2-card combo, and you're still good to go. So for hand traps, we're playing 2 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. I decided to do a bunch of pairs of 2 instead of 3 of on certain ones so that I can have a variety and I wouldn't be clogging my hand with too many of the same name. 2 copies of DD Crow and also 2 copies of Effect Veiler. I am playing triple Impermanence. I just think 3 Impermanence is correct. I'm not playing Phantasma's in my list. I love Phantasma. He's a great card. I really do. I think he's incredible, and I like that. I like what Phantasma can do for this deck. But I just decided it was either going to be Phantasma or an Impermanence. And so hear me out really fast before you just start to shut me down and get all negative on me. The reason why I chose Impermanence over Phantasma, while Phantasma has some really good strengths, is one thing that this deck cannot do, and I repeat that this deck cannot do, is this deck cannot really out an Amorphage Goliath. This deck can't really out a Vanity's Fiend. This deck can't really out Floodgate monsters like that. This deck cannot out There Can Only Be One when you already have a Balinx and you're trying to use Foxy to pop it. You can't, like, you'll get stalled for like 4 or 5 turns with There Can Only Be One for a smart player. And I really didn't like that. I like that Impermanence allows me to turn off Floodgates, especially when you're playing Game 1 against Guru Control and decks like that. Well, main deck Floodgates. You need a main decked out that's not always going to be Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters is a great card, but I like that Impermanence can solve the problems that Twin Twister solves. It solves the problems that a Kaiju can solve because potentially, sometimes you can't even Kaiju. Like, if it's a Vanity's Fiend, you can't Kaiju. With the Morphage Goliath, you can Kaiju him. But the thing is, Impermanence fixes that problem. Danger Thunder is going to be putting out a card that doesn't let me play in my extra deck. I can't clear that with Phantasma. Do you understand what I'm saying? Phantasma is not going to do that. And if you want to play competitive, you have to keep all that in mind. So I just felt the applications that Impermanence had were, for me, more useful than Phantasma. Phantasma is still a great card. You still draw, into your combo pieces. You can still fix your hands, and you can protect yourself from targeting effects. But don't believe the hype into thinking that Phantasma is a better card than Impermanence. I don't believe so. But if you want to disagree, feel free to disagree, but we're not opening this for argument or anything. So we have our 8 hand traps, no Phantasma. For the spells, 3 copies of Called by the Grave and 3 copies of Salamangreat Circle. These are the only quick plays that I'm playing. It's very important to open both of these particularly, but I just need to see one of these. This really, it helps you to play around a lot of stuff. It really does, and it kind of enables your bad hands to become playable, and your good hands become great hands whenever you have Circle. And looping this with Sunlight Wolf just lets you grind for a really, really long time. This deck, like I said, its follow-ups are insane. It has great recovery and recursion. Called by the Grave is literally a trap card in the mirror match. So, like, when you're able to not only Call by the Grave a threat, but you're denying them from using it, and you're also getting it out of their grave, because a lot of the best effects for Salamangreats revolve around the graveyard. So Call by is just definitely a mandatory main deck staple. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. This deck desperately needs cards like this. Flame Buffaloes and Desires are just really helpful. They solve some issues where Salamangreats need a way to dig for their combo pieces without searching, because when you're staring at a Colossus, it just, you can't Foxy, you can't debug. You can still Gazelle, but like when you don't have Gazelle, you can't search it. So you just really need other ways to get access to cards like that. I understand why some people wouldn't want to play it, but I'm a huge advocate of Desires personally. And 2 wheels. This was going to be at 3. I know it sounds crazy. I know some people are going to hate on it, but I really think that Will is an incredible card. And opening with it allows you to play through the Ghost Ogre problem. Like, people might think that it seems like, oh, no, that's way too niche. It's not going to come up. When your debug gets Ghost Ogred, when your Gazelle gets Ghost Ogred, when your normal summon gets Ghost Ogred and you don't have a follow-up, you effectively, your turn is done. And I don't like that issue. I really don't. And while Call By can help, I wanted more cards besides Call By that can fix and alleviate that problem. When your debug gets Ghost Ogre, that hurts so much. It does. Because even if you have Gazelle, even if you have Spinny, you can't use them. You can't even use them because you don't have a Salamangreat to pitch for Spinny to boost, and you don't have a Salamangreat that's going to the graveyard because you can't even trigger Spinny. So opening with the Will allows you to play through that interaction. It also just effectively allows you to play through more interruptions. It's another incredible follow-up. Like, this deck is really stronger after turn 1. That's what I believe. And then we still play the one of Sanctuary, the one of Fusion's Fire. Hold on. Wait. This is the drum roll because they weren't ready for this. Ooh, baby! CYNET Fusion, bro. Oh, boy. They weren't ready for it. CYNET Fusion is a good card, bro. It really is. I like CYNET Fusion a lot. So any basic average Salamangreat combo can get you to this. And the reason why I still like CYNET Fusion, while Fusion of Fire is a great card, it really is. And I'm not denying how good Fusion of Fire is. Not only do you not always have access to Fusion Fire, contrary to what people believe, not only can it still get DD Crowed, but I like the combo for CYNET Fusion. It's just something that I'm trying out. It's more or less for fun. This deck is still built competitively. I'm playing a lot of good cards to help me combat the format, but I just really like the interaction with CYNET Fusion. It allows you to recycle any Cyburst monster. It allows you to get more resources back and prevent your opponent from stopping your Chimera in the battle phase. In addition to that, it allows you to fusion summon using less resources. And the reason is, you will see when we get to the extra deck, honestly, you will. But it's a really cool combo. I kind of just wanted to, this was my way of innovating, but without changing the trajectory. That's what I mentioned earlier, how I wanted to innovate the deck, but I didn't want to do something awkward that wouldn't function or correlate with the rest of how the deck operates. So I just really wanted to stay on the straight and narrow path, but I definitely wanted to do something that could kind of just make my deck more enjoyable. I really love the CYNET Fusion combo. It's very fun, and it's more fun than Fusion of Fire for me, but, you know, to each his own. Every man's entitled to his opinion. Every man can play his deck however he wants. 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Again, I chose this over Phantasme. It not only does it conflict playing both in your deck, but I felt I didn't even have enough space to play both if I wanted to. I'm effectively playing 11 hand traps, and that in itself is already a little bit too much, but it's a necessary evil. You know, I understand what people are going to say, like, Phantasme is better than this, but I just, you know, I'm entitled to my opinion. You know, I'm not going to argue with anybody. And then for the Salamangreat traps, I'm playing one of each. So I really like Gift, personally. This is the one that I wanted to talk about because everybody knows what these do at this point. Even if you don't play Salamangreats, these have probably been used against you so many times that you know what they do. Salamangreat Gift, so effectively it's draw powered. Like, you get to pitch a Salamangreat from your hand, you draw one. And you also get to send, so it also has a secondary effect. So, like, it lets you draw 2 if you basically, I'll read it to you. So, like, you discard, you draw 1. Like, that's the basic effect. It gives you draw power. But if you control a Salamangreat Link monster that was Link summoned using a monster with the same name, which is kind of like the way the deck functions. It's like you have a lot of secondary effects like that. You basically get to discard a Salamangreat monster, then send a Salamangreat monster from your deck to your grave, and you get to draw 2 cards instead of 1. So whenever you open the way Salamangreats are supposed to open, you can flip this, and you get to draw into a hand trap potentially because you're drawing 2 cards. While simultaneously, not only are you drawing 2 cards, which allows you to out-research your opponent because this is a trap. You get to use it on your turn and on their turn, and you kind of just start digging into your deck more and more and more. And this card starts screaming, ogre me, please, ogre me, please. But it gives you a follow-up because you can dump Spinny. You can dump Falco. You can dump Jack Jaguar. You can dump, for example, Foxy. You see what I'm saying? So it has multi-purpose utility. I think it's a good card. You could disagree if you want, but this is my Salamangreat deck, not yours. So that's the main deck, you guys. Now for the extra deck, we have 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf. 2 Bela Links. I really like it at 3, but personally, I feel that if you manage your resources properly and you really need the 3rd one, you can always recycle it. For me personally, you don't really need the third one necessarily the way I've been testing with the deck. The third one rarely comes up. You really just, you need multiples. You definitely need 2, and you can get away with playing 2. There's no like, I guess you could say there's no like right or wrong way to play the deck, but I really do think that you don't have to play 3 Bala Links. You can get away with 2. You technically need 1, but the second one will come up. The third one comes up in such a rarity that whenever it does, you can easily just recycle the card. Just keep in mind. And then 2 copies of Heat Leo. And the reason why we cut this down to 2 is actually to make room for the Sauce. So 2 Heat Leos is correct because you need 1 to make the other one for your Fusion to Fire play. And continuing with the Salamangreat extra deck cards, we have 1 Mirage Stelio. You only need 1. It's easy to recycle. And 1 Violet Chimera. So that's it for the Salamangreat cards. Now, the rest of the extra deck is just, you know, non-Salamangreat stuff. So for your Salamangreats, they always take up a vast majority of your extra deck. So if you look here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Typically, Salamangreat cards take up 10 slots in your extra deck. So cutting that 1 Bala Links give me the option to play 6 non-Salamangreat cards in my extra deck, which was helpful. So we're starting off with Update Jammer. Update Jammer is a really good card in tandem with Borreload and Borrelsword. It's insane. You know, Borrelsword already can do that, but just in tandem with either one of these, it's insane. It's a really good card. There's other Cyberse links that you can play to that are really, really good. But let's talk a little bit about Clock Spartoy. So I'm going to read you this guy's effect. It's actually incredible. So basically, this card is an extender for your CYNET Fusion play because it's going to do quite a few things. So I'm going to read it to you. This is how you're going to basically, so to speak, get access to your CYNET Fusion, because what it does, and that's why you play 1 CYNET Fusion, it's okay. It requires, first of all, 2 Cyberse monsters to make, which is why, again, like I was saying, through all of your basically your generic Salamangreat combos, you can make this card with 2 Cyberse. If this card is Link Summon, add 1 CYNET Fusion from your deck to your hand. If a monster is special to a zone this card points to, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but negate its effect. And then for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters except fusion monsters. So when you summon it, it searches cynet fusion. Then you're going to special a monster to his zone and get his effect that allows you to reborn another Cyberse monster, but basically is going to be a Salamangreat monster. Its effects are negated, but keep in mind, Spinny has a graveyard effect, Foxy has a graveyard effect, Falco has a graveyard effect, Jaguar. You catch him my drift. So you're going to get an extra body on field that can enable you to either wall up, set yourself up for follow-ups, or you just use it as fusion material. So Clock Spartoy already sets you up for Fusion to Fire or CYNET Fusion because you're going to have a Salamangreat and a Link monster, which is really effective. And then the other thing, too, is that him searching CYNET Fusion and getting the body on field is what allows you to make Dipplexer Chimera. So this is like a little combo that I kind of just like I didn't think of or create because this exists for people who play CYNET Fusion and Cyberse. This is a standard play for them. So what Dipplexer does is basically he contribute 1 Cyberse monster. Basically, once per turn, you contribute 1 Cyberse monster, spells or traps, and their effects cannot be activated during the battle phase of this turn. If this fusion summon card is sent to the grave, it can add 1 CYNET Fusion from your graveyard and 1 Cyberse monster from your graveyard to your hand. So you can literally add any Cyberse, any Salamangreat you want from your grave to your hand, and you get CYNET Fusion back. So you use Clock Spartoy, you search out CYNET, you fuse with him and the monster that he summoned using his effect, and you make this guy. Then you tribute him. You protect your Chimera from any battle traps or anything like that for that turn. Then you get CYNET Fusion back, and you add a Cyberse. And then what the next thing you can do is you just activate your CYNET Fusion, you banish Clock Spartoy, and the same monster that you added off of Dipplexer, which is a Salamangreat, you can just make Violet Chimera, which is really incredible. So it's like a really cool combo that you can do. I like it. It's fun, and it's for fun. You're going through the motions to do exactly what Fusion of Fire does. So I get it. I understand. You can hate all you want, but I like it, and I think it's really cool, and it's pretty fun for me. And it's just what allowed me to make my deck more enjoyable because Salamangreats for me got really boring really fast. I guess really it was just I got so tired of just like doing the same standard plays. Like I was trying to find a way to just innovate a little bit, make it more enjoyable for me personally, which is just me. And this was the way that I did it. And then the final card in the extra deck is Abyss Dweller. When I found my Peacock Peacock is going to be in this deck because it really helps to make this card. And this is one of the best turn 1 plays you can do with this deck. Yeah, you guys, let's see. 19 minutes in? Yeah, we'll do that another time. But thank you guys so much for watching my Salamangreat deck profile. For those of you who can understand and respect the CYNET Fusion play, I appreciate you. You know, I really do appreciate you for taking time out of your day to watch this deck profile. Also, God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content, and y'all have a beautiful day, all right? Peace out.